Owners are frequently amazed at the public's high regard for the car of cars, even after it has seen 2 or 3 years of service. That in itself is a wonderful reason for buying a quality value late model used Cadillac. But in addition, there is its great practicality. Many one-owner low-mileage used Cadillacs are priced considerably less than many medium and low-priced new cars that are not their equal in prestige, Fleetwood luxury, and safety features. Every window of every Cadillac is safety plate glass. So if you want a car that is economical to drive and to operate, and a pride and pleasure to own, make it a point to spend 30 minutes at the wheel of a used Cadillac soon.
Eastern Class Championship played in Sturbridge, Massachusetts, March 2014. This is a great tournament, folks. And in fact, this year, Gadakomsky, world-class elite player, played in it. I recommend very highly to anybody of any playing strength. Hi, folks. John Cordisco back again. Round 3 of the tournament I recently played in. The Eastern Class Championships in Sturbridge, Massachusetts. It's usually played in the middle of March. This is round 3. Round 1, I played the highest rated player in the section. Played really well, had a winning game, but I blew it in the time scramble. Game 2, I played a lower rated opponent. He missed one really good move, but I had a heck of an attack, and I won that game. This is round 3. I'm playing as David Hoyt, I believe it's pronounced. As White, he's 1590. This is the under 1600 section, so again, I got another high rated player. I'm rated 1467. He has white, I have black. I played my usual Scandinavian. D4, knight takes, he pushed pawn up, knight back to F6. Usual stuff. Sometimes in the Scandinavian, the knight will come back here. Bishop B2, E6, knight F3, C5, he castles. I move the knight here. Knight C3, Bishop E7, H3. Usually what happens when you have a pawn like that, and after you move the bishop, then they'll take, forcing you to move the bishop again. But he went H3 instead. I castled, he moved bishop to E3. I took, he took with a bishop, and I went B6. I want to fee and kettle that light squared bishop. That knight's on a good spot there. I don't have a lot of center control, but this knight is controlling 2 really key squares. And this knight as well is doing a good job, and I have a lot of control over the D5 square. Queen to C2. I fee and kettled my bishop. Rook A to D1. Queen, we're just developing. B3 reinforces that C4 pawn in case he has to move his light squared bishop in the future. I moved rook over. He moved queen down. That surprised me a little bit. That's kind of a wasted tempo. The computer right now shows it's basically dead even. The computer asks for knight to B5 for white, hitting the queen, or rook to D2, doubling up probably on the D file. He went queen to C1. Now I'm looking at the computer here. I've got a tiny advantage. It asked me to go E5, which probably would have been a good idea, but I didn't want to expose that pawn too much. He's not isolated technically, but I'm going to need the F pawn up later to help him. I moved bishop up. I didn't want the knight to come to B5. He moved the queen again. I moved queen to B7. Computer suggested maybe bishop D6, and then after that, knight to B5. Bishop takes, C takes. I think it's a little better for me, frankly. Not much, though. He went knight to B1. I don't know why, what he was thinking on that one. I really don't. Maybe he just wanted to get the bishop out of the center of the board. I really don't know. I went bishop B4. He went knight up here. I guess that's what he wanted to do to begin with. The way he went B1. I moved the bishop to C5. He took the bishop. I took with the queen. queen takes, knight takes, bishop takes, and knight takes. Now, I like my position right now, and the computer bears it out. It only gives me about a half a pawn advantage, but I think my knights are very well placed. I'm threatening here. That knight's not going to be so easily chased off. He's going to have to move this knight in order to chase him off. If I had taken, according to the computer, b takes instead, pawn takes, after bishop d3, knight c3, rook to d2, not too good for me. So taking with the knight was the right answer. b4, he kicks the knight. Knight c3. Now I was hoping, of course, he would take my knight. I could take the bishop with check and then retake the pawn. He moved the rook over, and I moved the knight up. You think bishop takes, rook takes. Now I got his bishop. That was part of my goal. So I at least fulfilled that. I've got almost a pawn advantage in score. I'm threatening his a pawn. That knight can just wreak havoc down there given the right opportunity. He moves, he kicks, he hits my rook. I go rook to d2. Now I'm hitting the a pawn again. a3, he protects that pawn. I'm feeling pretty comfortable at this point. I think I got a small advantage, or at least it's easy to play. He's reacting to me now instead. My king's safe, and I'm playing the second highest rated player in the section. The highest rated player I played in round 1. So I'm feeling pretty good at this point. I go rook to c8, hitting the c pawn, and I don't know what he was thinking. Sometimes you just do it without thinking. I don't think he had any time trouble. We're on move 26. And being this is round 3, I believe it's 40 moves in 110 minutes and then another half an hour after that. He went rook to c1. And of course I checked. King moves, knight takes, rook takes. Now I'm a full exchange up now. He's in trouble. Rook to e2. I'm hitting his knight. Pawn up, protect the knight. f6, I kick the knight. Knight f3. Rook e4. Now I'm hitting 2 pawns at once. I'm hitting this pawn twice and this pawn. Rook to d1. The computer shows I should take the f pawn, but the second choice is taking the c4 pawn, which I took. And of course you all see why I can't take with this rook, because that's mate. After rook takes, rook to d7, he doesn't want to trade. He's down to exchanging a pawn. I go rook up, rook to d6, he backs off. I move the other rook there to guard that pawn. He moves back. I move the king up. He goes b5, hitting my rook. Rook to c3. Now I'm hitting the pawn and the rook. Rook to d8. I take the other pawn. All my pawns are guarded. He really can't do much. Rook goes over. Rook takes f3. G takes. This will give you an explanation why I took the knight. The computer gave me an exclamation point, which I never get on the computer, believe me. I just want to simplify it down. At this point, I'm the exchange of 2 pawns up. I take his knight, and it doubles up his f pawns and isolates his h pawn. So all his pawns will be isolated, all 4 of them, and 2 of them are doubled. It just makes my life a lot easier, that's all, in case there's any knight forks I miss or any of that nonsense. So I played rook takes, pawn takes, king to e7, rook, pawn, rook to a8, king to d6, and that's where he threw in the towel. It's just a matter of time before he loses the b pawn, and all my pawns are protected, either by my king or by each other or the rook. And I felt pretty good at this point. I blew the first round. I had a pretty good attack in the second round, won that game. This is the second highest individual in the under 1600 section. He's rated 1590, and he did make that one mistake, that's true, but the pressure that I had on him, I think in part caused that. Anyway, folks, that's the game from round 3. I hope you enjoyed it. Wasn't a very exciting game, but it doesn't have to be. You know, when you win a game, when you win, you walk away from the table and put up the 1 point in front of your name and 0 in front of your opponents. You're not really thinking about what great game it was. You're thinking about that you won. And so I was happy. At least I got 2 in a row after that first round disaster. So that's it for round 3. Round 4 is coming up in the next video. And I want you all to remember, if you think chess is just a game, you're not playing it right. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.
Ambassador, the now car that gives you the rich driving experience of the red carpet ride. Ambassador, full-size luxury created for today. With road cushioning suspension, velvet tone performance, the luxury of the red carpet ride. Ambassador, an uncompromising selection of automobiles with the red carpet ride. Priced for people who want their luxury now. At your American Motors Rambler dealer now.